Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VII. In the last part, we went through I think the last part was the Corel prison sequence, finishing off done, and we got freed from the prison and got ourselves a little buggy, which allowed us to explore the world and get some enemy skills that we either couldn't get before or re-getting the entire set. And now we're going to be exploring the Golden Saucer, because now that we have the Lifetime Pass, and we don't have plot stuff going on here, we have access to essentially every minigame in here, barring 2 at this point. Starting off, we're going to be showing off Chocobo Racing. Now, we raced in one of these last part, but you can also bet on the races outright. There are a couple different classes, different sets of items you can get, so on and so forth. You just picked, I think it's the 2 or 3 tickets you think will win, and they have to come in those places. So say, actually no, it's up to 4, I think maybe. No, it's 3.
3, yeah.
And the way this works is those 2 numbers on the ticket have to get first and second. It doesn't matter which order they're in. For the most part, this is just for standard item getting. But there are a couple of good items you can get from this. In particular, I forget if it's during the B rank or the A rank or something, you can win sprint shoe accessories for your characters, which put them into automatic haste for a battle. I think, at least 2 pairs of those.
That must take forever, because that's, like, totally luck-based, isn't it?
Yep. I think that took me at least an hour off screen.
An hour? Man, it would take me forever.
Yeah,
is there a way you can, like, look at the stats and make a guess? Is that the best you can do?
Sort of. Like, you can take, I think on the right you can see, like, their stamina and their top speed, but at the same time it all depends on the AI itself. Because some Chocobo breeders that have good stats will just gun their Chocobo all the way through their stamina and lose off the bat. However, something interesting that you can do as well is if you want to get some GP to use here in the Golden Saucer, the Chocobo betting is the best way to do so at this point, because in the case you get an item and you don't like it or it's not something you need, you can just convert it to GP off the bat. Like, whatever I won there was turned to 15 GP. In fact, notable, the Chocobo betting I think is the only thing in the Gold Saucer you can do with just standard guild.
The basketball game uses guild, doesn't it?
No, I don't think so. I think everything in this is GP. For the most part, these games are just games that don't serve much purpose. Like the arm wrestling down there was button mashing to the extreme, and I do not do well at that. That one I think is just pure luck with what you get. The most interesting ones are in this room. First off, there is this one right here. I'm not trying to talk to you, I'm trying to do this.
I don't like this one. I don't like it.
Yeah, this one's...
Nothing in this room appealed to me at all. It was always the Chocobo races. Yeah, this is essentially rock, paper, scissors. I think it's a low blow beats a high blow, a high beats a medium, and a medium beats a low. First to 10 points wins. It takes forever, and I think the AI starts reading your inputs at some point or another. I've never beaten all the matches in this. I think the farthest I've gotten is maybe to the 3rd one. I've gotten to the third one, but I think it's impossible to win the 3rd one.
It might very well be without using some sort of save state. It's coming. I don't even think you win GP for that one. You got some more of those luck machines. There's a random fortune teller here, which makes me wonder why they have this and catch she. That's kind of redundant. What do you got to say for me? My lucky color is red. Okay, then. Over here we got G-Bike. This is the crazy motorcycle sequence in minigame form. Now, when it comes to this one, there actually is a better reward for this one than just GP. If you reach 10,000 score by the end of it, you get, I think it's a speed source. Which, very minor, but hey, if you want to max out your stats, that one could go a long way.
Takes forever, though.
Yeah, that's kind of the balance of the minigames in this place. Either they feel like they're impossible to win, or they just take way too long. There are 2 other minigames in this area that we cannot access yet that are related to plot events, essentially like the Crazy Motorcycle minigame. I think you get sources for getting certain scores in those too, but I don't do them. Straight up. And this is the bizarre one. Now, you all know that one game at like a Chuck E. Cheese's or Dave & Buster's, whatever you have, that's just kind of plot-based and oddly bizarre for everything else around it? This is the equivalent to that. Mog here is trying to fly. However, he can't fly because he's inept, I guess.
He doesn't have enough... Oh, I could do the whole B-movie script thing because it applies, the proportions apply to his wings and his body, but I'll spare you.
I've read that script a couple times too, to my friends.
How many Koopa nuts are you supposed to give him?
I think it's between 5 and 10. I want to say it's randomized every playthrough, though. However, you know you've given him the right amount of Koopa nuts when he doesn't rub his stomach anymore. The moment he does a little hop and he goes like, "Badoop," yeah, you've done it correctly. At that point, just wait. I think it's like 5 seconds or something, or around those along those lines for him to just be like, "Oh, hey, I'm good now." The only reason I'm really showing this one off is that it's the bizarre one of the group, and I didn't feel right just showing off the Chocobo Square at this point in the game. I think there's one minigame I outright forget to do here, though, and that's the one in the Speed Square. I think I'd do that later on.
So you just sit and wait?
Yeah, you just sit and wait until Mog's like, "Okay, not giving me any more?" There you go. And because we fed him correctly, for some reason, that extra weight makes him fly. Also, a little prelude to a certain song.
He became Mog became a full-fledged Mog. What?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Also notable, I think this is the only straight-up appearance of a standard Moogle in the game.
Yeah.
7's like one of the few universes that doesn't see Mogs as a normal species. Because even the Advent Children, the closest thing there is to a Moogle than that is this one little, I think it's a little boy, has a Moogle plush that is dilapidated as all hell.
Man, I miss 6 with its playable Moogle.
To this day, I still find the fact that in the advanced version they changed the names of all the other Moogles a bit bizarre. Because I think they changed it from being puns off Koopo to puns off the Mog name. And now you need to do the exact same thing again, only this time he has sex on the line.
Oh.
It's the exact same stuff again.
So I know what happens if you fail the first time. But what happens if you fail the second time?
I think she just walks away.
Ouch.
Gotta say, though, I do like this environment. It's very Final Fantasy V, I guess is the way I want to phrase it, where it's very suitably beautiful, but also goofy.
Well, there is Moogle Forest.
Yeah. Actually, wow, yeah. Holy shit. And he did it! He can fly! Again!
I'm surprised you didn't make a joke here.
I had some flight jokes in mind, but some of them were in poor taste. Like, one of them was the Hindenburg disaster.
Oh, okay.
But then, so I realized the moment that comes to my mind, I should not do one. Because if the only joke I can think of is one that's, like, at the expense of people's death.
Alright, how many babies do they have?
It's just not worth a joke at that point. Her name is Mag. I actually do like that. Alright, where's the kids? Come on. Lots and lots of healthy Mogs.
Oh.
One, two, three,
ooh, there's a yellow
4,
one. Shiny.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
12? I counted 12, maybe 13.
Now the question is that all one litter? Or do Moogles replicate like rabbits? Is their gestation period just that short? This needs to be explained, Final Fantasy. Are Moogles like dogs and that they have a litter?
Finn.
And that's the end of that very odd minigame.
It takes a long time, holy moly.
Yeah. And for doing that, we don't get anything from the game itself, but we do get 30 GP from that guy. So if you're wanting to get some GP early on, that is a pretty good method to get a decent chunk. But for now, we're going to probably the second most important place, but I forgot to talk to this person first. That's the idea. This lady here is why I only got 2 sprint shoes early on. If you get 3, you will have wasted your time a little bit. This is the battle square. We saw this place gunned down a bit earlier by Dine. But the way this works is that it's a battle arena. You equip one character to the best of your ability, and they go into a one-on-one encounter. A series of one-on-one encounters. There are monsters and handicaps going along, but we'll talk about the handicaps as we go through it. The notable thing is you can essentially run into any enemy from the game here. Well, not any, but a good amount of them. And their stats aren't one-to-one. If it's an enemy we've seen before,
it's like 25% higher, right?
I think it's between 25 and 50 depending on the monster, but I want to say 25 is the most common. Now, overall,
okay.
At the end of every little battle in it, you get battle points. You always start off with 10, but if you want to go off course, which is continuing, a reel comes up. These are your handicaps. In this case, I just got half speed, which means, well, my speed stat has been halved, and Cloud's going to be a lot slower getting turns. You get more battle points depending on the handicap you get. The worse it is, the better it is for your points. There are ways to mitigate some of these, like I think I have the white cape on Cloud right now, which prevents Toad and Minnie, but the Toad and Minnie give pretty decent battle points, all things considered.
Getting rid of materia is the best. I believe getting rid of materia is actually the best way to get points.
Yes, it is overall the best one. Particularly all materia broken is such a huge multiplier, it's ridiculous. But the way I tend to go about these, I tend to try and break red materia if I can, because the only thing I use summon materia for in the battle arena
I'm a little surprised.
For elementals. Huh? What's up?
I'm surprised you didn't stop the reels.
I do that because that was just me doing like a cursory show off of what the arena's like. We're going to be going more in depth to this place later on. And here are the things you can win. The championship belt in particular is a really good accessory, but as you can see, that takes a ridiculous amount of points to win. Though something you should know is that the farther you get into the game, the lower the points requirement gets, because more items get introduced and take the higher slots. Mimic greens are probably something you could get some good use out of the upcoming stuff, but for right now, I won 8 battles off screen just because I didn't want to take up the time with a full round of the battle arena for right now.
Wow, teleportation!
Yeah. Because I got 8 wins, and I talked to that lady again after talking to her before I entered the place, I got an extra pair of sprint shoes. So now I have 3 pairs. That's going to be really good for an accessory from here on because haste just makes the battles go by that much more quickly. And now it's time for us to finally progress with plot. Ooh, this place is red. And it has our...
Is that a pun?
And not intentionally.
Okay.
And we have the only new enemy for the part, Ski Skis. 540 HP, 222 experience points, 22 AP, 222 gil. A lot of 2s with this enemy. No elemental weaknesses. You can steal tranquilizers, but they can drop hypers. I think they have an ability that can berserk you with the Rage Bomber? Yeah, no, they can Fury you. It's
it does a lot of damage, and these guys are great for limit breaks.
Yes, especially because of that Fury. In fact, between these guys and an enemy that's relatively soon on the world map in the next little portion of it, this next section I think is the best place to farm limit breaks in the game, especially those that require using prior limit breaks. However, before we continue on completely,
Yikes.
One thing I want to mention is that if you're going for everything in the game, including all 4 Condor battles, get out of the car now. If you continue too far on past this environment, the car will break down and you won't be able to backtrack to Fort Condor when you need to during this section if you want to get a certain battle there. Oh, I love this place.
This is probably my favorite place in the game, as far as, like, regular towns and cities go.
Yeah, I agree. And this is apparently Red's hometown. Though they're calling him Nanaki for some reason. How you doing, dude? And Barrett's excited. entirely. This is apparently a giant place to study the planets. So essentially, hippie town.
Okay.
And apparently, since Red's from here, we're getting free passing even though they're at capacity. I guess it's also a vacation destination.
It's a pretty place.
Yeah. And I'm bringing in this party. It doesn't really matter in the long run. The characters you don't bring in are all located somewhere else in the town at this point, doing their own little thing. Oh, damn. Red's dad was apparently not a good person. That's sucky. Man, now that I think about it, I'm surprised they don't connect Cloud and Red in that way at all, because do we hear anything about Cloud's dad throughout the game?
Nope, just his mom.
Yeah, we never learned what happened with that. Would have been a good time, I guess, to bring that up. Yes. Observatory? I guess we'll have to check that out. Now, this here is the inn. If you have, I think, Tifa outside of your party, I think she shows up in this portion. But the reason I'm in here for the most part is for Turtle's Paradise number 5. And in this room over here, we can investigate this couch and get an elixir.
Nice. That'll come in handy in the next part.
I forget if I use it, actually.
Wow, you fight that thing legitimately. Dang.
I honestly forget if I do.
Hey, did you ever watch the, I don't know if it was, I think it's called Final Fantasy VII in a nutshell, where they go and they go down to that part and everyone's like, the person we know about's all excited. He's like, oh, I get to do this, finally! The time has come, and then go elixir.
I don't think I have. I know the elixir is a common joke throughout the fan base. Over here is Turtles Paradise number 4, by the way. I think this is the only area that has 2 in and of itself. I know Midgar has 2, but that's Shinra versus that one kid's house. And I want to get essentially one of every weapon here because these are all pure upgrades for everyone. The Silver Barrette is the only one I could potentially not recommend because you're going to be getting a better weapon for Red in the very near future anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So do with that as you will. And up here is where Barrett is, and this is probably some of the most pressing dialogue in this entire place. This town is where Avalanche was originally founded by the original founder, which, if I recall lore correctly, is even before the Avalanche that was in before Crisis Final Fantasy VII. So I think there's technically been 4 Avalanches. The original one, the one before Crisis, us at the start of the game, and us now. I might be a bit off on that lore-wise, but that feels right. And, you gotta hold forward right here. Come on, come on. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that depth perception's a bit odd there. Hey, Yuffie.
Oh, well.
Well, Yuffie, the dude's right here.
He's sleeping, he doesn't care.
Now, this materia shop is interesting in that we get the first appearance of some pretty notable materia. HP plus and MP plus, which raise those stats, as you would think. For newcomers, those are a godsend, because they increase your HP and MP by such an extent, especially when they're higher level, that they become very helpful.
50%.
Yeah, they can outright double it in some cases. Well, not 1.5 times it in some cases. It's useful for newcomers, but for me, I prefer to use my materia slots for other things at this point. And this is Red's grandfather, Bugenhagen. I think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced. Bugenhagen? Bugen?
Bugenhagen? Something German sounding.
Here's where we learn something surprising about Red. His species has such incredible longevity that even though Red is physically 48, his maturity level is only about that of a teenager. So, that is another character that is a young adult in this game. Barrett is still the only full-fledged adult.
48 times, let's see, 16. The average lifespan is about, I would say, what, 80 years old now? 85 maybe?
A couple of hundred, I'd say.
100?
Yeah, because if he's 48 and that's
No,
the
I
goal
was
of a
gonna
16-year-old.
I was gonna use proportions. Like the average human lifespan right now is 85, right?
Oh,
so we could take
yeah.
the maturity of a 16-year-old divide. So 48 times 5.3125, 270 years old. You can live
Jesus.
270 years.
At least, yikes. And that's the planet screaming. That's creepy. Bugenhagen, I always felt like they had more going on with him that they planned, but they never quite had quite the time to do with, I guess. Because this man's in touch with so much stuff that it feels like there could have been more done with him. Alright, so now we need to get 2 other party members with us in order for this next scene. You can bring whoever you want, but just given the characterization we have with Barrett's origins, with Avalanche, and who Aerith is, I'm bringing them into this next scene. Time for plot dump! Sort of.
Oh.
I guess more lore dump. That's probably one of my favorite FMVs in the game. I don't know why. It's just very good looking. This is a pretty in-depth laboratory, Bugenhagen. Where are you getting the electricity to run this thing? From the fans outside? Whoa, baby.
Ooh.
Now, as weird as it is, I've seen a bug in this place if you bring Tifa in the slot where Barrett is, where she flips upside down. It takes the mood out of this scene entirely, and I think it's fairly replicatable in the PC versions, because it's not in the PS1 version from what I'm aware. Should we be worried about how
That's
close
a
that black
black
hole is to the solar system?
Uh-oh.
I guess black hole isn't this game's plot.
Gravity? Atomos? Is that you?
So now we bring up what happens at death in this world. There is sort of an afterlife, but essentially, the spirits that die return to the planet, a phrase we've heard before through that flashback with Aerith. And that's because everything on this world is part of what's known as the life stream. Quite literally, a stream of life energy that cycles throughout the planet from life to death and then it recycles backwards. This is probably one of the most interesting parts of the game's lore to me, just because this is a very, not original concept, but very well implemented concept for the game's world. And here we have a good visual representation of what I just said. That man dies, erupts into fireflies from Final Fantasy X.
This came before
Travels
this,
across.
whatever.
Yeah, that is actually part of that whole theory. I guess I'll go more into this later. But there is a theory that 10 is a several millennia prior prequel to 7. So spirit energy is what makes up the life stream, and that, as I said, it makes up everything. But it also is what makes a planet a planet. It is quite literally the life of the planet. So what happens if that gets taken away?
Oh. The planet just kind of
Grows dark, dull,
breaks
and
apart.
falls apart. Now, where have we seen some sort of energy being taken from the planet before? That is what Mako energy is. Lifestream and Mako are the same thing. So, when Barrett said that they were killing the planet with Mako energy, he was meaning that literally. It's not like global warming where like the atmosphere is warming up. No, if they take enough Mako energy, the world will actually die.
I think what's interesting is that they're infused, like, with Cloud, for example, the people in Soldier, they're infused with Mako, right? Once they pass
Yes.
away, the Mako that they're infused with returns to the planet, right?
I think, because that goes into the whole thing of that might be what magic is as well. Magic and materia are just condensed spirit energy. So I think what happens when they turn someone into a soldier is when they infuse them with Mako, I think they essentially become human materia, in a way, where the magic is coursing through their system and it allows them to strengthen up. That's something I wish they dived a bit more into throughout this game, but they never quite do. And now we have a campfire scene. I do believe there is some date mechanic stuff here. Let me get up that little thing I have on the side. Let's see. In Cosmo Canyon, when the party splits up when they first enter the area, if Barrett's in the party, Cloud can converse with him, like we did earlier. If you tell him to go on, that was +3. I forgot to mention that earlier. If you say, and then, that's another +3. There's nothing relationship value related to this scene. My apologies. Oh, I probably should have brought that up when we were there. But that scene with Barrett in that room earlier, the first question can be received in a limited amount of times, allowing you to get infinite points for Barrett. So similarly to the Yuffie thing, if you want Barrett to win, do that. However, if you're going for the trophies on the PlayStation 4 or Steam release, there is a glitch with that, where that trophy will only trigger within a certain range of points. So you can actually go above and beyond and not get the trophy still. I think that might also be possible with Yuffie, but don't quote me on that. I've been here before, Ketchy? Oh, that's got to be a rough realization.
Uh-oh.
Now, this is something I wish games nowadays took more opportunities to do. Literally have characters just kind of sitting around a campfire and talking. While I love modern RPGs, I feel like sometimes they're a bit too focused on the good pace, and they don't focus as much on their characters. Dragon Quest XI did this very well as well, because I got the platinum for that not too long ago.
There are some games that do that without scenes like this, and the games that do that are actually quite awesome.
Final Fantasy 15, I wish, had more scenes around a campfire like this, too, to develop the characters. Because campfires are already an integral part of that game, because that's how you level up and such. So, there's something they probably could have done with that. Either way, Bugenhagen has something to show us in Red, so we're going to bring in a third party member. For this, I'm going to bring in Yuffie, because I think she needs a bit more power going on. Alright, let's head on back upstairs. They have you take this little trek up the stairs quite a few times, and honestly it can get a bit tedious. Because I want to say, is Cosmo Canyon the largest town in the game that's not in Midgar? In terms of amount of rooms and doors?
I think in terms of actual area, yes.
Alright, Bugenhagen, what you got for us? Yeah, we're all set. That is a very poorly hidden button, but it worked. Huh.
Oh.
And Bugenhagen's going to be coming into this cave with us, because this is our next dungeon. However, before we end the part off, because this is going to be the end of part transition, one thing I should note is at this point, you can do another battle at Fort Condor, which is why I told you to stop with the buggy before reaching Cosmo Canyon. For completing that, you get 5 high potions, but the game tells you get 5 potions. But with that, we're going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 14, we're going to be checking out the Cave of the Gi. See you guys then.
Goodbye.